us six to getting a couple more guys, such as the giant Corey Dalton and Kurt Taylor's little brother, Chop, getting into it. And we had a couple people come in and out. And it started growing. We started getting ladder matches. We started jumping off of stuff. We started adding more depth. We added storylines. We had tag teams. We started adding titles. And it was growing because it was something that we really liked. And we were in a townhouse apartment thing. And people were watching us. You know, we had crowds of not big, like maybe 5 or 6 of the kids. And we would do shows for them. And it's funny because we sucked still. But people loved it because it was, you know, a couple of kids rolling around. You know, who doesn't want to see that, right? And we started having really, we would get, you know, we would have an up spot where we would do stuff nobody's ever heard of, and then we start doing that more and more and more, and then somebody would do something different. Like we got stuck in a pattern of really extreme matches, always having high quits and last man standings and tables and, you know, just stuff like that. And then one day Helsing was like, "Hey, I'm gonna do something different," and he widowmakered Kurt Taylor off of a freaking heater. So then we started taking really big bumps, and then we stopped that after a while because that really hurt. But then, you know, we got unwussified and started doing it again. And it was I'd say it wasn't the golden age, but it was really the start for HCW. It was great, and I'm glad to be a part of it. It was really cool. Many memorable things that happened with my name on it, and I'm really proud of that.
Well, a lot of history there.
A lot.
Let's see. So you're in like your first year of HCW. Did you win any championships in the first year?
I actually was awarded the HCW Heavyweight Championship before we unified it. I'm in the history books as the first HCW World Heavyweight Champion. And, of course, I know a lot of you hardcore HCW fans are going to want to hear about this. See Revolution X. We held tag titles, of course, and we got our start. And, yes, the name says it all. We were a cheap knockoff of D Generation, copyrighted. And we, every time, you know, DX would do a promo on TV, we would go out and do that same promo. We would make fun of people, but we got carried away. we would take that to school and prank teachers and prank people. When I say we, I mean me and Kurt Taylor. I mean, there's always other people trying to be in CX because it was a popular thing or whatever, but it was mostly me and Kurt Taylor. We would prank people, and but yeah, you know, world title. I think I held the HCW title once, maybe at that time. I've held it more than that, but I think I held it once at that time, and I didn't like it. I'm a classic guy. I love the World Heavyweight title, and the tag titles. That was about it for that part until we made our big move.
Wow. So your first year, all right. Anything through the second to third year that you really want to touch on? Because I mean, I don't want to spend the whole time on that. So
I'll make it quick for you, Steve. Okay. The second and the third year I consider the golden age because we had about 25 to 30 people on our roster. We were having people show up and then continue to show up, which is a big thing. Instead of just showing up for one show, they would show up for a lot of shows and dedicate themselves to it. And we had greats like DT Ice, Heartbreak King. In this golden age era was where we had Tank get a start. Shadow got a start in the tag team with me and Helsing Legion. Shadow got a start. I personally brought him in. His name's Matt, a cousin of mine. I personally brought him in, showed him the ropes. He loved it. He's been with it ever since. John Heartbreak, who just recently re-signed. I was really happy about that.
I'm really happy about that one too.
Really happy. He's a musician at heart, but
I saw some of his old stuff. He's pretty good. I mean, even from the early years, I mean, he is pretty good.
He's always, like I said, we was in that legacy stuff. He was always really good. But yeah, that's when we took off. We had tons of titles. I held HCW, the World Heavyweight, the Hardcore of the United States, the Tag Team, our Intercontinental. And we had a lot. And we unified the titles. We got the unified title. I held that a lot. The second and third years were really good, really, really great. That was the golden age for CX2. Then it died out, and it was just a great time. Everybody was fun. There was no backstage hoopla, really. Politics. I hate that word. Hate it.
Yeah. Now, you were touching on tag teams like C Revolution X and stuff like that. How many tag teams through your career have you been in?
Of course, I got my start in CX. That's probably my most memorable one. After that, I was in Legion, which was really it was fun because that was my first time as being a heel.
Now, was Legion a tag team, or was it more or less a stable?
It was a stable, but it was more of a tag team in the sense of we had Shadow in there, and we never let him do singles stuff yet because he's still. That's my beef with him. He's more concerned about flashy, high-flying stuff. That's how he was back then.
James touched on that in his interview. You can't really work with a guy like that. It's kind of hard.
No, not really. It's difficult. You have to know how to, and that's what makes a great wrestler great. You have to know how to balance yourself to cope with the other person, and that's what I try to do every match. But no, it was more of a tag team because of him. And then during probably one of the most controversial nights in HCW history, me and Helsing, it was more personal than this. It was actually me and Justin were fed up with stuff. This was the start of what I call my personal downward spiral. We were fed up with stuff, and I'll admit, when it came to backstage politics, I had a very big pull. I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of people that aren't in the business right now because of me. And if I could take stuff back, I would. But I want them to understand at the time I was younger. I was more worried about putting myself in the main event. Personally, I admit I buried a lot of people, and that's what started my third tag team faction, which was ExE. Yes, like the deodorant. It was Alternative Extreme Entertainment. And I saw the effects of it with some people, with people like DT Ice and Truffle Shuffle. Great guy, by the way. They all left because for us, HCW was more than... I don't mean to go off topic from your tag team thing. I'm sorry, just got my mind on this. HCW, what I didn't realize, was more of a personal thing for a lot of people. I let my passion and my determination block that. While I was just focusing on wrestling, winning championships, being the top man, I wasn't focusing on, the fact that after we wrestled, we would just chill out and hang out. And if you invite somebody and you go and beat the crap out of them, and then not let them win anything and bury them, and then invite them back, they're not going to want to come back at all. And that's what I did. I didn't do it alone. No, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that factored into that. We might touch on that later. But yeah, I was at almost the very tippy top of politics like that, and a lot of people are not there because of that. And and when I realized that, and Justin realized that, we had the idea that we would start a revolution in HCW. It worked to an extent. It had to be me and him and a few other people who jumped ship like people you probably don't know of. Justin's little brother Chris never really had a wrestling